every other tournament, right?
That would be the understatement of the year. Yeah, it's interesting, but it's all good. It's impressive, all the thought and preparation that's went into this. I mean, it's pretty incredible to have all 68 teams kind of housed right in this controlled environment, and we're able to kind of navigate our ways to practice courts and meeting rooms and all that. And, once we got through the 24 hours of straight isolation in our rooms, it's kind of been getting into a sense of normalcy now.
Awesome. Well, let's start with Brenna Green, Creme 2 Sports.
I actually think this whole year has been kind of a great source of preparation for this time. I mean, it's a little bit business as usual, outside of that first isolation period, which kind of, was almost more like what we dealt with when we had COVID issues way back in December. So, we got different activities planned throughout the day, and have a lot of things. They got a really busy schedule today, and we're trying to balance preparation and practice, rest, and then kind of team building activities, kind of all in one here. We do a lot of stuff. I mean, Travis Knight's great with all that stuff and variety of things. And that we have an opportunity to go outside today, which would be good for us. And we'll, see if we can throw the football around and play a little wiffle ball or something, just to kind of activate them out. It's going to be a decent day here. And then, Trav does a good job with his PGMs. And I think we've been doing those every day here. So.
And from here, I'll say first names, but if you guys wouldn't mind introducing yourself and then what outlet you're from, but we'll go to Matthew from TSN.
Matthew from TSN. Coach, just on Andrew Nembhard, I know you said recently that adding him to the program elevated the team from maybe a top 25 team to a top 5 team. How have you seen him grow and in his role? Because I know earlier in the season, you kind of, when someone said, how with the luxury of having him come off the bench, you're like, no, we don't see him like that. We see him as more than that. How have you seen him grow in his own skin in the program over the course of the year?
I mean, he's such a great guy and great teammate. I think he was so cognizant of stepping on guys' toes. He could see, there was a special team here, and there were some pretty identifiable core people in it, and he was very concerned. He didn't want to mess with that. But now that he's been around them enough and kind of enjoyed his own success and understands what we need him to do, I think he's became more offensively aggressive, and even defensively, he's kind of got a little bit more understanding of what we're asking for him of the plan there, and it mostly evolves around him being more and more aggressive and more assertive. He's a very, very good player, and so we're always kind of pushing and prodding him to try to do a little bit more.
And in terms of, very quickly follow up, the overall team atmosphere, you talked about the preparation and everything the team dealt with earlier in the season. There's been so much made about the chemistry of this unit. How have you seen that really borne out now that you guys have to be kind of isolated in Indianapolis?
Yeah, no, I think it'll be a real strength with this group, because I mean, we are. It's definitely a forced socialization here. So if you don't like your teammates or your coaches or other staff around, it's not a very pleasant situation. But unfortunately, we got great chemistry, and the guys, I mean, truly enjoy hanging out with each other. So I think that's going to be a real positive for us, while we're here.
Thanks, Coach.
We'll go to Jim. Jim Meehan, go ahead.
Thank you. I had to find the mute button. Mark, can you talk about, I think you mentioned that you had Gavitt talk with your team and your players a few months back. And I think a lot of that conversation, or some of it, was about the tournament and what maybe some ideas exchanged on how to make it more palatable for the players, I guess. That any of those things come to fruition, and just the magnitude of what's being pulled off there seems incredible.
Yeah, no, very much so. Actually, listen, Dan deserves so much credit, and his staff, Joanne, Scott, and everybody for being able to put this thing together and pull it off. And he did. I mean, one of Dan's greatest strengths is he puts his ego aside. It doesn't seem like he has much of an ego, and he's a great listener. And he really asked our guys some great questions way back in December, and then listened to them. And they're trying as best they can to make this thing as player friendly and customer friendly as they possibly can. And the team rooms and the practice courts and there's other things going on to try to occupy the guys and why they're here. I think that it's the most difficult thing is just getting everybody here, getting everybody tested and cleared, and again, the beauty and also the hard thing about this tournament is it when it starts, it happens quick, and it'll go from 68 to 32 quickly, and then it'll be, even at the end of the weekend, it'll be down to 16, and then I think that you'll see some easing of restrictions and all that, as far as what the guys can do and what they can't do. But he did a great job listening to us, and I think the guys in the team rooms and some of the stuff they got going on is a good distraction.
We'll go to Vincent.
Thank you. It's Vincent Sagometti from the Gonzaga Bulletin. Coach, I asked this question to Corey, a few weeks ago, but around a year ago, like a year and a few days ago, you obviously heard live from Reese Davis that the tournament last year was going to be canceled. Looking back a year now today, how thankful are you guys just to be able to, have this an opportunity to compete in the tournament this year?
No, that's a great question, and we've talked about it a lot. I mean, we're trying to really have an attitude of gratitude, no matter what our individual goals are, our team goals, and even our frustrations with lack of what the NCAA tournament's normally like. I think missing out on it last year has given us a great perspective of just being so thankful for us to work our way all the way through this season, and to get to this point, where we can celebrate the season with an NCAA championship. And I think it's huge. I think it's huge for players. I think it's huge for staff. I think it's huge for schools and communities like Spokane and areas like the Inland Northwest, and even I think it's really big for our country. I think it's a big thing for our country to see that things are getting back to normal, and we're moving forward.
Appreciate it.
We'll go to Daniel next.
Yeah, Mark, Dan Walken from USA Today here. If you guys do what you want to do in this tournament, you're going to be in this controlled environment for quite a long time. I'm curious, have you put any thought into just the idea that how teams handle being there over the course of 3 weeks might actually determine who ends up winning this whole thing? I mean, it just seems like another factor that the people, the coaches might have to deal with at this point.
No, I absolutely agree with you, and I have put a lot of thought into it, dating back, to a month ago. I think we've been talking about it staff wise, and I'm part of a group of coaches that's has been on a committee that's been working with Dan Gavitt on this thing and trying to, throw out our suggestions. And he's been great to, to listen to our suggestions. And I think you're spot on. I think a big part of this is you have to have a team that's, good enough to win this tournament, but also more so than other years. I mean, this is a factor, how they handle, just this, and it's different. It's different. So there's going to have to be some maturity involved. There's going to be, the ability for the guys to have great perspective. And then, as I mentioned earlier, just you better like who you're hanging out with, because that's who you're hanging out with. And, fortunately for us, we do like all hanging out together. So I'm hoping that'll be, advantage us. But again, this isn't a 7-game series like the NBA or World Series or anything. This is you win, you move on, you lose, season over. So that's what makes it so special, but that's what makes it so daunting also.
Yeah, thanks.
Yep.
Carter Hill, go ahead next.
Yeah, Coach, you've obviously been here plenty of times before, but is there any additional pressure being the number 1 overall seed in the tournament?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, there is. I mean, you're theoretically thought to win every game and all that. And, I mean, I vividly remember dating back to 13, I think was our first seed, and the entire crowd in Salt Lake City flipped on us, started cheering for Southern. And so, it's a different mindset, or not mindset, but just kind of setting. But then also it's kind of also what our program's been dealing with, for quite some time now. I mean, anytime we march into any gym, I think we expect ourselves to win. And quite frankly, most of the people that follow us do the same. So, this year, just with how different it is and how many things you're managing, I almost feel like there's less pressure, just because it's, I don't know, there's just, from passing COVID tests to not having anybody around and all that, it almost seems like just kind of pure basketball.
And we'll go to Lane next, and just a reminder to remind us which outlet you're from before your question. Thanks.
Sure. Lane Higgins, the Wall Street Journal. And you mentioned, Coach, that it's going to be important that teams like their teammates and they enjoy spending time with each other, because there is going to be a fair amount more downtime, this postseason than normal. And I'm curious, what sort of things did you and your players bring to keep themselves entertained when you are in these hotel rooms, and just like you were for almost 48 hours without much break? And, what do you have planned to keep the team engaged?
Well, we work on kind of team activities and team building things all year. And I've found that was something that we just took for granted. Like when I first started head coaching 23 years ago. And now we make a concerted effort to really work on that side of things, and on the mental side of things. But I mean, just looking around here, I mean, there's a roaring game of Catan going on last night. And
who brought the Catan?
That's a big, I would say, Kispert, Joel Ayayi kind of game, and gets pretty competitive, even though, just to lend you in on a little secret, they were taken down by our trainer last night, Josh Therian, in a little bit of an upset. So I think Corey was distracted. He had a lot of stuff going on. So that was probably the first shocker of the week. But we'll go outside today and throw the football around a little bit, play some wiffle ball, and then Travis Knight is the best in the business. He's our strength and conditioning coach, but he's so much more than that. He's been doing our kind of mental growth, mental health, team building exercises for years now, and I don't think there's anybody better in the industry. And so he's always challenging, doing fun, interesting things with these guys. And so I don't know what he's got planned. The cool thing is, they do that separate from the staff. And I think that's important too, because I think that, I don't know, just lends itself to a little more letting their hair down and being, they get tired of listening to me all the time.
Certainly. And just one quick follow up on, you guys have been gone from home for a long time as it is, and hope to be gone for even longer. Have you had any players or yourself had to get anything delivered and realized, oh, shoot, I forgot this at home, or realized, I'd really love a new book to read or anything like that?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And we do have help outside the bubble. I got coached up on that. I have a great friend, Sean Ford, who runs USA Basketball, and they were just actually here in the bubble a while back in December with one of their teams. And he brought up a great point that you have to have guys outside. So we actually have two of our managers that are outside the bubble that are helping us, kind of grab anything and everything that we might have forgotten. So my family's showing up, I believe, on Friday. So I think they're going to bring some stuff that I neglected to bring. So
what are you most looking forward to getting from them?
Gosh, I forgot some other Zags shirts that I need to wear for practice and things like that. And I rushed to leave on Selection Sunday. So mostly that. Yeah. Clean clothes.
Yeah.
The battle.
All right, we'll have time for two more questions. So we'll go to Keith from KXLY.
Hey, Coach, you guys have been ranked #1 all year, and there aren't many teams in the nation that have played in front of less fans than you guys have. Less people have seen you play than almost anybody. It's a chance for some people to actually get in the building this weekend and see you guys play. How excited are you for that, for your guys? I mean, it's been a long year.
Yeah, I'm really fired up for that, Keith. It has been a long year, and I think it's going to be great. We didn't get cleared for parents, and family members till pretty much that last weekend of the year. So I'm just happy for that. I know that means the world to the players to just have, all the people that have been with them throughout their lives, helping them on this journey to be there in person. And then look, we got a lot of great fans and supporters that have helped us grow this program, and they haven't been able to watch us at all. And I know they're excited to get to the games here and support us. And I'm kind of happy for them also. So I think it'll be fun. I mean, I think, who knows? I think we're going to be in the state of Indiana, so I don't think anybody's rooting for us here with, everything that was on the line and all that stuff. But that's fine too. Just any emotion is better than no emotion.
All right, and last question, we'll go Gary Horcher.
Thanks, Coach. Specifically, let's talk about the lack of the power and the energy that the players get from the Kennel Club specifically. This is a team where you have some players that have never heard the full power of Zombie Nation and the thunder that actually comes bouncing off the court there. You guys have had to pretty much provide that energy, that psychological burst on your own. Can you have you talked to them about this, about what they're missing, and how has that made your team just maybe a little bit different mentally?
We haven't talked about what so much they're missing. I mean, we've talked at length about how they got to create that. And it's very important because it's a big factor. And there are, some teams do it very, very well. And so it really involves not just the guys that are out there on the floor, but, a lot of our people that are sitting behind the bench there, and they become key factors in this with creating energy, creating some noise, creating some communication that we can kind of feed off of out there on the floor. And I think they've done a great job with that. You look at a Will Graves has had a huge impact on our group. He's always up on every play and talking. And I mean, I can just, I hear him at times during games that you'd never hear him, in a normal situation with the kennel going or the opposing crowd going. And Matt's been good. And just a lot of our guys have been so beneficial But that's a big, big part. And I think it'll still remain a big part here because these are just going to be partially filled arenas. So, you look around some of these teams, Baylor has great energy on off their bench. Illinois has tremendous energy off their bench. And I think there's, obviously it's talented players out there on the floor, but it makes a big difference.
All right. Well, that is all we have time for Coach Few. We appreciate the time.
All right. Thanks, Alyssa.
Thank you. And next up, we will have Corey Kispert. And just a reminder again, as I have the stripes going with the blinds right now, it looks great. If we could limit each person to one question just to start, as we're kind of getting used to this 15-minute limit per person, that would be great. And then again, a reminder to announce your name and then which outlet you're from before your question. Thank you. And also a quick reminder, if you asked a question, if you could unraise your hand just so we can kind of refresh if you asked a question for Coach Few. But we will start with Brenna Green.
Yeah, I mean, it's completely different than anything we've ever had here, especially at the tournament. But, I also haven't been to one of these in 2 years. So it's been a long time. And it's just kind of par for the course for everything that's been, for all the types of games we've played in this year and the environments we've been in and the things we've had to, go through as far as testing and protocols and stuff like that. So while it's new for the tournament, it's not new for the year itself.
Next up, we'll go to Isabel.
Hey, Corey. Isabel Gonzalez, Mid-Major Madness. During the season, you guys had a couple games where you had some slow starts. And obviously, this being a single elimination contest, you don't have a lot of room for error. So what's different now, like in practices and just your mentality, and how do you approach everyday practices and games?
Yeah, that's a great question. You got to hit the floor ready to go. The energy's got to be there from the moment that you tie your shoes, especially in practice where you got to work on that stuff because like you said, when you play in a game, there's no really room for error, and you make one too many mistakes and you're done. So it's all about just creating that energy from the get-go and hopefully kind of translating that onto the floor because every team, including us, has weak spots, and we're and it's one and done from here on out.
We'll go to Karthik next.
Hey, Corey, Karthik from Creme 2 in Spokane. I heard you guys are going to be playing football today. Will there be a Corey Kispert, Jalen Suggs rematch at the quarterback position?
Yeah, you better believe it. I've been training under, behind the curtain and behind the scenes for months now for this rematch. I'm primed and ready to go. I think Jalen's been kind of showing off in front of the cameras too much personally. But we'll see what happens, later today.
All right, we'll go next to Steven.
Hey, Corey, Steve Wano from the Associated Press here. Got a wacky question for you. Everybody knows the One Shining Moment song. I'm curious, did you ever as a kid pretend you were in that song, hitting a buzzer beating shot to kind of get in that video?
Yeah, you're kidding? Of course. Yeah, I mean, I remember exactly where I was when Chris Jenkins hit his shot to beat Carolina, and that was only a few years ago, but it kind of has the same thing. Watched the whole One Shining Moment video after that, and the dream took off from there.
Okay, and Vincent.
Thanks, Alyssa. Vincent Tagliametti from the Gonzaga Bulletin. Corey, Coach mentioned before that you guys have, had some different activities during your guys' downtime. He specifically mentioned some intense games of Catan. So even as stressful and as much pressure as you guys may have being the number one overall seed and a lot of people having some high expectations for you, how meaningful is it for you guys to kind of have those off moments and kind of relax and just enjoy those moments with you?
Yeah, it's great. It's super nice. And one thing's for sure about this team, like we're really good. We play really well on the floor, but we know how to have fun off the floor too. So things like Catan and football and everything in between is really helpful to kind of keep your mind off of what's coming later this week. There's a time to focus and there's a time to have fun, and we're really good at kind of separating the two.
Rob Jesselson, go ahead.
Hey, Corey, Rob Jesselson with KHQ and SWX in Spokane. What are some of the advantages or disadvantages of getting ready to play a team that plays on Thursday?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, you can't really watch much film early this week, just because you don't know. It's fun to kind of split the week up a little bit, have a game to watch on Thursday that you're super interested in, vested in. So it kind of goes both ways. I mean, and also we're a kind of team that has, a big advantage offensively to a lot of teams in the country. So the less time that opponents have to scout us and come up with a really solid plan, works in our favor.
Go to Will next.
Hey, Corey, Will Maupin with the Inlander. Transfers are a huge part of just about every program in the country at this point. But over the past 3 years, Gonzaga's backcourt has had just guy after guy who's stepped in first year in the program and made an impact. What do you think it says about the program, and specifically this year, guys like Andrew and Aaron, that they're able to come in and just be integral parts of the team right away?
Yeah, I think it kind of speaks to the way that we kind of just put our arms around guys who are new here, whether you're a freshman or you're a transfer. I think both those guys would say that they, felt welcome right away and have, found a family in Spokane. And it also kind of speaks to how the brand of basketball we play, on the floor, and how easy it is to fit in. You kind of just have to do what you're best at, and the rest will take care of itself. So you don't have to worry about things that are out of your control. You just got to do what you do, and we have plenty of guys on the floor that can fill in the gaps in the other areas.
We'll go next to Matthew.
Shane from TSN. Corey, just a bit on Andrew Nembhard. How did it help the team's chemistry that this is someone who had established himself in the SEC with Florida, comes in, accepts his role, wants to be a part of the team? Coach says, we don't consider him someone coming off the bench. He's just another one of our starters. How did it feel to have someone come in and want to embrace, knowing the chemistry that was already there?
Right. Yeah. Andrew was super special because, when the time came for his, waiver to be passed, he had a pretty serious conversation with all of us. He didn't want to step on any toes. He didn't want to ruin chemistry coming into play, but he wanted to be a part of it. He wanted to play, and we all wanted him to, have an impact too. We recognized how good he was. There were some times in practice where he would just, kind of take over on the scout team, and we recognized that. So now having him a part of our rotation now has been, a huge key to our success. And it speaks to the kind of guy he is, that he'd be willing to step in here and kind of take a back seat for a while and make sure everyone was good before he took on the role that he did. And it's helped the team, and it's helped him out a ton. I think he's become a way better player because of it. And we're a way better team too.
We'll go to Lane next.
So this is kind of building off the question you got earlier about Settlers of Catan, but I'm curious, what other sort of things did you bring into the bubble to help you stay entertained during all the downtime and just kind of keep you and your teammates loose?
Yeah, well, if you look really closely at one of the photos that our Twitter page posted, you can kind of see my putter, a golf putter kind of tucked by my hip. So I bought a few golf balls, a putter, and I kind of line up a water bottle at the end of the room. And golf's kind of my second sport. That's like my hobby. So I've got to make sure the game's sharp when springtime comes.
Nice.
We'll go to Myron.
Corey, Jalen Suggs, obviously a legendary high school guy, football and basketball. This season, what's the craziest thing that you've seen him do in a game?
In a game? Well, yeah, you can. There's a video of him out there throwing a full court, one-handed pass to Dom, kind of from behind, and he has he puts a spin on it too, so it hits the ground and checks up back to Dom. super tough pass. And I was kind of running the wing when it happened. I didn't realize like all the hands it had to go through in order to make it. But that's definitely some QB1 stuff that you can't really teach, that kind of a pass.
Keith Oso.
Corey, you're a guy that really embraced the history of Gonzaga basketball from day one on campus, and you're here with a chance to win its first national title. Just what would that mean for the program and your legacy in particular?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter about my legacy. I'm just kind of a small cog in the huge machine that's Gonzaga, I guess. And I'm just really happy to be a part of it. And it's a culmination of a lot of hard work from a lot of guys. And part of the reason why I love and embrace the history here so much is that I've kind of gotten close and interacted with and have relationships with guys who did it from way back when and did it before me. So kind of a head nod to those guys. I just want to make sure that I'm taking care of business and finishing things that they started. So it would mean a lot to the city of Spokane too. It's a basketball town, everybody knows it, and just kind of bringing a title home would solidify that Gonzaga really is like the greatest success story in American sports today.
And Gary Horcher next.
Thanks. Gary Horker, Cairo TV, CBS Seattle. Wanted to ask you, Corey, and I just asked Coach Few this. He was quoted a couple years saying that when the Kennel Club is at full force, their maximum volume magnitude, they're worth about 7 or 8 points a game. And I've been on the road with you where they've actually supplied similar amounts of energy for you. As an upperclassman leader, you have people that have never really experienced that full energy. What do you have to do to bring those players into that mindset that brought you right back to when you were an underclassman and you felt that power?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing you can really do to replace it altogether. You got to find that 7 or 8 points some way else, some other way. And whether that's, kind of being excited for each other, waving towels on the bench, or just the way that you play on the floor, the way you like talk to your teammates, stuff like that. Get you those 7 or 8 points back. Like I said, it becomes a lot easier when the kennel's at its full force, like Coach said. There's nothing we can do to bring them back. There's nothing we can do to replicate that energy in the gym when we play. But it's all about just the little things. And then hopefully next year when we have them back, that'll all take care of itself with them.
And we have time for just one more question. And I want to check with Jim Meehan if that's a new hand or if that's from Coach, just to give you the opportunity.
That is a new hand. Thanks, Alyssa. Corey, I have that same golf set up in my living room. I just leave it there year round. I'm curious about the 16 versus 1 seed situation. You did it once, I think in 2019, you guys were a 1. That was probably the year you also saw Virginia, or at least knew about what happened to Virginia. How do you guys deal with that? You have a team coming in too that will have played and kind of has their feet on the ground and maybe got some of the nerves out. What is that dynamic like for a player?
Yeah, I mean it's like you said, up until that Virginia game 2 years ago, it was 1 seed's never lost to a 16 seed. It's never been done, and so every time you hear that, you got to dial in your focus. Like you said, especially in a place like this where every game's kind of in this city and in similar arenas, teams don't have to travel across the country to play games anymore. It's advantage Norfolk or App State. That's every time they play and every minute they play on the floor, it's advantage them. So and then obviously if you lose, you go home. So there's no cupcakes, there's no guarantees, and every time that you step on the floor, it could be your last. So you got to take that seriously, and no matter who's across from you.
All right, that's all we have time for Corey. Thanks for the time. Appreciate it. And I believe next up we will have Andrew Nemhard. And again, just kind of a reminder to say your outlet, just so the person you're asking the question knows where you're from. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, we have Andrew Nemhard here, and we will start with Brenna. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's different just because of obviously the fan aspect. It's not as kind of the environment's probably not as big as my freshman year coming in, but I think the stakes are the same, and we've kind of been preparing for this the whole season, so the excitement's the same. That's just how it is this year.
Vincent.
Thank you. This is Vincent Sagombeni from the Gonzaga Bulletin. Andrew, I'm sure you've been asked this, multiple times, but throughout the course of your time here at Gonzaga, what are some of the things that make playing for GU unique compared to when you were at Florida?
Yeah, are you talking about like playing style or just like the culture of the team?
Yeah, both. Or
both. Yeah, I think playing style just the pace of style we play at and how we move the ball. I think that's the biggest difference. And then I think the family environment is just a huge aspect of Gonzaga. And I think I really realized that right when I stepped on campus, just because how the guys interact with each other and how they kind of brought me in.
Matthew, go ahead.
Matthew Schneider from TSN. Andrew, Coach Hugh was just saying that at times this season they've asked you to be more aggressive attacking the basket. How are you finding your game developing alongside all this talent, and how do you feel that you can contribute now going into the tournament?
Yeah, I think I didn't really want to step on too many toes coming in here at first. I think Coach Hugh has always kind of had a lot of confidence in me and pushed me to kind of be more aggressive in my role. And I think this time of the season I could just step up in that sense and just do what the team needs me to do, whether it's score the ball or make plays for others. I think that's what I'm going to do this tournament for sure.
Isabel, go ahead.
Andrew, Isabel Gonzalez from Major Madness. Obviously, you guys were the #1 team in the nation the entire season. So right now, everyone's going to bring their A game when they play you. How much pressure does that add, and how much could that pressure help you guys to, play better yourselves?
Yeah, honestly, I don't think it puts too much pressure on it. I don't think we look at it in that sense. I think we just have a standard that we hold ourselves to every day, and we always talk about just being us. And I think we're gonna just respect every opponent and just hold ourselves accountable. We'll be fine.
And unless these are new hands raised, I'm not seeing other new hands. We'll go to Karthik.
Hey, Andrew, Karthik here from Creme 2. I hear you guys are going to go outside and get a little active today after kind of being quarantined in. Wiffle ball was brought up. You had a first-round pick on the team of all the players. Who would you pick for your wiffle ball team?
First round pick is definitely Corey Kispert. He's good at everything, honestly. So I'm definitely picking him. He'll help you get some minutes for sure.
Okay, we'll go to Gary.
Thanks, Andrew. Gary Horker, Cairo TV, CBS Seattle. Andrew, a quick question. There was a former player, Gonzaga player, who mentioned in a TV broadcast that your stiffest competition this year were your inner squad 5-on-5 games, and that was the most intense competition you've actually faced all year. What are your thoughts on that? There are a lot of people that look at that WCC as being kind of the division is very different from some of the other divisions, from teams that you're going to be, conferences that you're going to be playing. Is that an intensity that you guys bring in the court? Is that comment have any truth in your mind?
Yeah, I think it does have some truth. I think the WCC has been a really good conference this year, honestly, with a lot of competition for us. And a lot of challenges that we've kind of had to just overcome. But I think that is true in the sense that we have a really deep roster, and those one-day competition Mondays are just great for us to kind of compete and just go head to head and really just show all of our ability that we can't really do when we're playing all together and have to kind of defer a little bit.
We'll go to Vincent.
Thank you again. Vincent Sagambeni from the Gonzaga Bulletin. Kind of going off of Karthik's question that he asked earlier. Coach and Corey said that you guys were also playing some football today. And so, my question for you is, who do you think would be the best NFL player on anybody on your team?
Yeah, I think it would be Jalen. Honestly, I know he was a football player before. I heard that Corey was too, but I haven't really seen him play yet. So I'll give the nod to Jalen for sure. He's athletic and he looks like he'll play the part.
Jim Meehan.
Andrew, just kind of curious how kind of buttoned up or tight are the protocols back there for you guys, and do you have any interaction with other teams or players, or do they frown on that?
Yeah, no, it's pretty strict here for sure. Not really any interactions with other teams. Just kind of ourselves and kind of trying to stay distance with masks on, and having our time where we can kind of come together and do certain activities. But it's been pretty strict though. Been inside the hotel for the most part. But as you said, I hope we can get out a little bit today.
All right, we'll go to Isabel after that. And just a reminder, if you guys already asked a question, try to unraise your hand so we can make sure we don't call on you when you're not ready.
So Gary was asking about the competition Mondays. I was just curious, are you guys still doing those while at the bubble? And what are practices like now? Are they the same or kind of different?
Yeah, we didn't have one yet. I'm not sure if we will have any, but so far they've been pretty similar to how we prepare for teams all season. Just kind of, right now we don't really know what team we're playing yet, so we're just kind of doing overall preparation for what we might expect from each of these teams. But pretty similar to what we've been doing all season.
All right, last chance for one more question. Oh, wow. Keith Oso pops right up at that time. Go ahead.
Andrew, you guys have played in front of probably less fans than anybody in the nation this year. At 25% capacity, it's probably even going to sound like Thunderdome to you guys. Are you excited to get out there in front of some people?
Yeah, very, very excited. I love playing in front of fans, and got to experience that obviously my first couple of years. And we've had a couple of games this year. We've had like 25% capacity, so it's a big difference having no fans. And I'm very excited to kind of just have that energy back in the building and hopefully have some of our fans back in the building.
All right. Well, Andrew, thank you so much. Appreciate the time. And that is all we have time for media availability today.